Macphie of Glenbervie is not only a food business, but it is also a farm and estate. The estate and the family have changed fairly dramatically over generations. Divorce and various other issues shrank the estate, and there was no more children to inherit, so my mother inherited. On the food side, we started as retailers, then moved on to retail wholesale, bakery manufacture, and now what we call food ingredients. I left school and I felt that I needed to go and explore. Macphie's was a small business. I wanted to come back to the business with a skill set that actually helped the business. I came back to Glenbervie in 1987. At that time, we were looking to set up an international sales division, so my father thought that that would be a good place for me to earn my spurs. So for 10 years, I looked after our export and our food service division before becoming managing director 2 years before he died. The biggest single issue when the key person of the business dies is your competition. Competition went after us big time at a time that I was emotionally sensitive. With all these events, they do happen. There could be a fire, there can be a death. So pre-planning is very important. And we have learned from that we need to now do it. I was very pleased to take on the responsibility of running the family business. But there are lots of individuals. There is the farm, there's the food business, and then there's the family. And all those individuals have got different expectations. So satisfying them all is quite a big responsibility. Why we have looked at a family constitution and how we can divide some of that responsibility up. Next step was to find an individual or an organisation that would help us take our family mission, and that was where we sought to find a consultant that would help us get there.
It's fundamental that a family are very clear as to their vision as to what they're trying to achieve and how they will define success. So for example, if you take a family like the Macphies, whose vision of success is continuity and development of a legacy for the benefit of this and future generations, they will have to be organised in one way. If you take another family whose idea or vision of success is the maximum financial benefit for the current generation, they're going to be organised differently.
The family were fairly clear on what the vision was: preserving the legacy of owning Glenbervie, supporting communities in which we work, and family financial security. The issue was then to take that vision and take it through succession planning, events for disaster, being deaths or fire or anything like that, but being facilitated through that process, and we didn't have or know what that process was.
What was important with the Macphies is they wanted the family to be present and effective in a role in the business without working in the business. So we helped them establish a family council, helped establish the very clear roles and responsibilities of the family council, and if you like, the balance of power between the family council and the board. A family council is a meeting of the family members, and in the Macphies case, the owners as well, and it has a social purpose, it has an educational purpose, and in the case of the Macphies, a formal purpose because it exercises formal powers. Each family has to decide who they want to involve in the work and when, and how they want to go about it. So the Macphies decided that the senior generation would do the work and then consult with the next generation. I think we have a very practical and engaging approach to this work. We provide the families with questionnaires to make sure that they discuss the right things and nothing is missed out, but also that it's done in the right order. And that means that the families have the questionnaires beforehand, they have to return them to us before the meeting. So when we reach a meeting with the family, and how they do that is up to them, we know exactly what we're there to discuss, and there's no surprises. Our role in implementation of the structures that we design is sometimes helping them getting up and working in practice, but we also need to work with the lawyers and accountants and the other advisors to make sure that they are also translated into the most tax efficient and legally efficient structures.
The board received the information, I would say, very well. It was clear as to what was in our remit and what was partially in our remit and what definitely wasn't in our remit. I believe a successful family business needs this clear and reasonable balance between a good board and a good family working behind that board.
It's very important that families understand what we do and how we can help. Our expertise lies in helping them develop the governance structures and policy that they will need in the future. And because that discussion often arises during a transition from one generation to the next, we really understand the work of transitions. We're also expert in developing the education and understanding of family members about what they have and mentoring them through that change from one generation to the next. The owners, the family, the directors, the employees and other outsiders all know what is expected of them, and also, very importantly, they know where each other stand. So it's very cohesive and has exponentially increased the chances of success. It's important because from time to time a family just has to ask itself a fundamental question: why do we want to continue being a family in business together, or a family who are connected through the enjoyment of various assets? If they are in agreement about that, you will only then be confident about building the structures and policies that will enable them to achieve that. On the other hand, if the outcome of the discussion is that they do not have a good enough reason to continue together, they do not have a shared vision, then it's better to find them or to help them separate their interests at the least economic and emotional cost, rather than building the structures that will hold them together against their wishes. I think families will approach us for advice when it's starting to become complex, and that is generally a combination of the complexity in their family and also the complexity of the business and other assets that they have. Families can be quite successful working it out for themselves to an extent, but at some generational point they will just start to feel this is getting really complex, we need to get organised.
We now have a family constitution which links in with the vision which 3 generations of the family have all signed up to. That constitution brings clarity, connects the family vision with the responsibilities of the family and the directors.
I would certainly recommend an approach like this. From the networking that I do, either around other finance directors or specifically within the food and drink sector, I've seen what clarity and balance, proper balance, that it's brought to this business, and I know that the people that I network with would welcome that opportunity.
The vision that we have for our business is to be world-class and outstanding. We are passionate about helping families with the knowledge and expertise that we have, and we just want to be the very best we can be on an international scale.